We're going to go on here now. वेलकम बैक व्यूअर्स टू अनदर सेगमेंट ऑफ संडे ब्रंच। आज के सेगमेंट में हमारे साथ जो गेस्ट हैं आपका उनसे तारुफ कराती हूँ। वी हैव विद अस former US Congressman Nick Lamson. He has acted in government for 40 years, and out of those 40 years, he'd been a congressman for 10 years. He had also served as various agencies in various agencies and committees, including the congressional committees on science, space, and technology, transportation and infrastructure, and agriculture. He created a congressional caucus on missing and exploited children. He helped creating the Congressional Center Aisle Caucus, worked in Congress, science issues involving space, environment, and energy, and was a delegate to NATO Parliamentary Assembly. Thank you very much, Congressman, for your time and for this honor to take time out for TV1 USA's viewers. My first question would be, from a science teacher to a politician and now COO of a healthcare company. Share your journey with us.
It's been an interesting one, to say the least, Isa. Thank you for having me, and it's always fun to come and talk about the political life that I've lived, because I really wanted a life of public service. And it happened for me to be through elected office. So that made me a politician, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I was always impressed with the need to give back to the community from which we have all received so very much. And that's always what I wanted to do. I thought that I could best do that by reaching out to my friends through the community, organizing people together, encouraging them to participate, asking them what the needs were, and then trying to fulfill those needs. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of been the mode of my life that's driven me forward. I've loved politics. I've loved community service. And it's because it puts us in touch with each other. Right. I'm a people person, and I think that anyone who likes to be around people ought to consider public life in public service.
Great. So you had been a congressman for 5 terms. You served in the House for 10 years. So tell us what is the life of a congressman?
The districts are quite large. There are approximately 750,000 people in each congressional district. Okay. To be able to reach out to a large number of people and to find out what their needs are, the challenges they may face that a member of Congress can help resolve for them, is difficult. So being available, meaning going to many organizations, meeting with people both in your office, their offices, and in their neighborhoods and communities. So our typical schedule in the Congress, on Tuesday mornings I would fly to Washington, D.C. We would work on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I would spend Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and oftentimes Thursday night would be back in an airplane coming back to the district. In a car on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, wow. And then back to Washington on the following Tuesday. Oh, so wow. It's a lot of travel by car and by plane for the district that I represented.
Okay.
Again, it's fun stuff because we get to be with people. It's tedious because it's hard to get doors open of government sometimes. Breaking down the barriers that seemingly put into place for people. I loved going particularly to the Pakistani community, for example, because so many of the young people always ask me, what do we do to be a part of our community? How do we resolve the issues that we have for our own difficulty in traveling, particularly after 9/11
yes.
Occurred? And so those were things that put me in the community to try to be a liaison. If I could assist in someone solving a problem with the federal government, then I've done my job. And that's what I tried to do.
As far as I know, you continue doing that even when you're not in the office, and still you are a great friend to the Pakistani Muslim community here in Texas, and you'd been doing so much politically. You'd been part of these all committees and all. How do you manage your political activities with your personal life? How do you manage, since there is so much traveling involved, so much public dealing involved? So how to balance the public, the personal life with the political?
That's often very difficult, and sometimes the family suffers. I have 6 grandchildren, 2 children of my own, and I've always wanted to be a part of their activities, and so I'm going to be there when my grandson receives his Eagle Scout Award. I was there when my daughters graduated from high school and college.
Amazing.
And those are important to me, and it should be important to all of us. But it means that you have to work extra hard and be willing to give up a great deal of yourself in order to do it, because it requires a balance. My wife and I have been married for 46 years, and we have a very close-knit family, and that to me is the most important thing in my life. They help me a great deal.
Well, they are lucky people to have you in their lives. The reason we invited you to our show today was the book you have recently written. I would like to show the book to the viewers. The book is called The Death of Washington's Democracy, and it is probably available online, and you can also go to the link, The Death of Democracy, thedeathofdemocracy.com, and you can buy it online. So let's talk about this book a little. What was the inspiration behind writing this book?
Well, first you can see from the title that I put a question mark in that title. So it's The Death of Washington's Democracy, and hopefully people would think about what I meant by that. The motivation of the book was what has been happening to America. We have seen the use of gerrymandering to facilitate the ripping apart of our nation, separating us, pulling us apart politically.
I'm sorry to cut you. I would like you to explain gerrymandering a little bit for our viewers, for those who do not know what this term means.
It's a little bit of a long explanation, but at the end of each decade, we are required by our Constitution to do a census. And based on that census, where people are living, districts for government subdivisions, including the Congress, are supposed to be drawn. So gerrymandering is the use of political information to draw for partisanship purposes those districts to benefit one party over the other party.
So there are certain Democratic districts, they're designed that way, and there are certain Republican
ones that are designed that way. And so what happens over time, as we've done this over many years, then we begin to elect the most liberal liberals and the most conservative conservatives, and they fight. They want to maintain their purity, their ideology. And what happens is that the solutions to our problems are found in the middle of the political spectrum, and what we're doing is eroding away the political middle. That's what I want to talk about, and that's what I want to encourage people to think for themselves, to find that balance again and pull us back to compromise, civility, and the search for common ground.
So that is very interesting, actually, how political influences are being used to have certain districts represent a certain party. Do you think that the District 29, I know you work very close with Mr. Tahir Javed, and he's running for Congress. He's a community member from Pakistani community, running for Congress from District 29, Houston. So do you think his district is a classic example of gerrymandering? Because I see certain parts of districts are like really poor, and they have a certain mindsets politically, and then around the area there are like richer neighborhoods, and they have certain inclinations. So it's more of a democratic district, I would say.
This particular district is going to perform very, very strongly on the Democratic side, yes. And it is a clear example. It is a very narrow district drawn in a big circle, like an exaggerated half moon. It picks people from specific ethnicities and puts them together for the intention of giving one ethnicity a greater capability of winning an election. Interestingly enough, he is attempting to go against that trend. And he is doing a very creditable job of reaching out to people and pulling them together. If all of us across the country could do that, then it becomes a unifying attempt. And again, that's what we need. Our greatness in the United States of America has been to pull our diverse population together and find commonality. That's why we're here. We're here for the American dream.
Right.
And as long as we can strive to achieve quality lives for our families and for our communities, then it's going to help the whole country and all of us rise up and do better and have a higher quality of life.
Let's get back on the book. The book points towards a specific problem, that this is how the political system is being manipulated. Mm-hmm. Does it offer any solution? Oh,
yes, it does. And toward the end, I talk about moving forward and how we move forward. And it is my hope that we will insist that our politicians begin to do away with the ability of legislatures to draw boundaries for political subdivisions themselves and turn them into as nonpartisan commissions as possible. You can never get all of the politics out, but if we can allow an appointed commission rather than an elected legislature be responsible for drawing those boundaries, then we will begin to find that equal numbers of people from representing two different ideologies, one of them has to give up to cross over to reach a majority. And that's when we begin to pull ourselves back toward the middle of that political spectrum that I talked about. And it's very important. And then what can we do individually? I even wrote, if I may take the liberty of
yes,
writing,
please go ahead,
just a couple of sentences at the end. I said, end hatred, teach tolerance, encourage conversation within our places of worship, families, neighborhoods, and communities. Teach ourselves to think for ourselves and stop tacitly accepting the opinions we now hear all around us. Those are the opinions of other people. We have to form our own opinions and be able to move those into our communication network so that we can determine what's the best way forward to solve the problems that face us. Whether it's an individual that's fighting a problem with INS, with natural over immigration, or whether it is a community that's trying to recover from a disastrous hurricane like Hurricane Harvey just recently. When we work together, when we believe in each other and the strength of our diversity, we have a better quality of life.
Yes.
That's my goal. That's what I hope people will get out of this book, and I hope they'll buy it, and I hope they'll go to the website, thedeathofdemocracy.com. I don't mean that democracy is dead by a long shot. We certainly can save it. I believe the United States of America has gone through turbulent times and goes through cycles. We're in a cycle right now that is difficult, but we can turn it around by believing in each other and seeking civility and the search for common ground in political issues.
If you allow me to show the book to the viewers once more. So viewers, the book is called The Death of Washington's Democracy. You have heard Congressman talk about it. If you have any questions, you can give us a live call at 855-886-6387, extension 4. For those who will watch this show on our social media pages or YouTube pages, you can write your questions and I will put you in contact with the Congressman. And you can also go on the website, buy the book, read the book, and see what solutions are offered in this book, how he has pointed out to the problem of gerrymandering, and how we can all work together as citizens of the United States of America to solve these issues and problems and make this country the real dream land that we have all come here for. I'm talking in perspective of an immigrant. Sir, the current political conditions of United States of America, the immigrants, I would like to pick your thoughts on that.
Well, keep in mind that I'm the second generation of my family born in the United States of America.
So you're an immigrant, so you can probably relate to how we feel.
Unquestionably.
I mean, we do say, looking at the title, there is a democracy in this country, but the head of the state looks very much like a dictator.
Well, it's unfortunate that we reach a point at which there is some discomfort. But again, that also shows the strength of the United States of America. We're living through a turbulent time, a difficult time. Will we come back together? It's my opinion that we will. I don't think that our democratic republic, this democracy that we have had, it's the longest serving existing democracy ever in the history of the world. I don't think it's going away. I believe that we understand enough the need to follow the Constitution that was given to us by George Washington. That's why I mentioned George Washington specifically in the title of the book, because George Washington, when he was leaving the White House as president, the first president, cautioned us not to allow political parties to reach a point that they begin to be more important than our Congress. He said, because if we do, there will be gridlock, and the Congress will not be able to make decisions.
Right.
Well, look at what we're living today. We've reached that point. The Democratic Party and the Republican parties have fought so hard against one another that we're now seeing the Congress unable to reach decisions on critically important issues that face all of our country right now.
Right.
So until we wake up and say it must change, and then I participate to the extent that I can make that change happen, that's when we will begin to see democracy get stronger and stronger again. And I keep using the words, our quality of life grow again. We'll reach the dream that we seek.
So we're quite to the end of the segment. I would just like you to tell the viewers a little bit about your experience with Mr. Javed, since you have been working with him in Riceland Healthcare for a couple of years now. So how do you feel? What kind of person he is? What are his chances? The community would want to know. Is your camera?
Yeah, sure. Well, I have been a part of congressional district, one of the most diverse congressional districts in our state for many years, and because of that have made friends in so many different ethnicities, and I think we grow tremendously when we share each other's culture. Well, one of the cultures that I became very close to was the Pakistani community, and Tahir Javed became a good close friend, and later he became my employer. I work with him. I'm vice president of his company called Riceland Healthcare that serves people throughout Southeast Texas. When he told me that he was interested in running for politics, running for public office, it made me very excited. I think that he really understands fully the role that we play as citizens. I refer to them as citizen patriots, those people who are patriotic to our belief in democracy in this country. So he stepped up himself and gave of himself and took himself out of his company to be able to do so. He is running an excellent race here, and what he is asking for support for is for his actions. So he went into this congressional district and said, don't judge me by what I say I will do, judge me by what you see me doing. And one of the first things that he did in his congressional district was to open a medical clinic, which the mayor of Galena Park, Texas said was the most urgent need that they have facing them right now. So he stepped up, and even not being in office yet, gave of himself and his treasure to be able to open such a facility as that. That's the kind of person that I believe we want in service to all of us in America. His willingness to seek a problem and then seek a solution to that problem is quite impressive. I hope it duplicates among every person that lives in this United States of America, because that's what I believe our democracy, our democratic republic represents.
So the last question, being an immigrant, when I see so much hatred, the country being so divided, how should I feel? What is the ray of hope? What should I think about to keep me following my American dream?
Think of the future. Think of the future that you continue to dream about, and know that every nationality that came to the United States of America probably lived similar situation than what you did. I almost cried over the times that my mother would talk about how she was treated when she was a young lady. My family came here from Italy. All four of my grandparents came from Sicily. They sounded different. They wore head coverings when they went to the Catholic Church. And so oftentimes they were looked at differently than other people in the community, and people would say things, and it hurt, and it does hurt. And so what we want to remember is at some point in time in the future, there will be yet another ethnicity that will come to the United States of America. Let's hope we don't treat them in the same manner as we were treated, as we were becoming acclimated into this magnificent melting pot of the United States of America. There's a beautiful future.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. व्यूअर्स, इसके साथ ही हमारे प्रोग्राम का वक्त ख़त्म हुआ. आपने कांग्रेसमैन निक लैमसन की बातें सुनी. आई होप आप इससे इंस्पायर हुए होंगे. इनकी बुक ज़रूर ख़रीदिए, वेबसाइट पे जाइए, बुक को ऑर्डर कीजिए. अच्छी किताब है, आपको कुछ इंसाइट्स मिलेंगी अमेरिकन डेमोक्रेसी के बारे में. इसके साथ ही हम आपसे इजाज़त चाहते हैं. अगले हफ्ते फिर से आपसे मुलाकात होगी. अल्लाह हाफ़िज़.